just strange. Annie Guthrie, we don't think is staying there anymore, or her husband.
Because what you're about to hear sounds like a Netflix crime thriller, except this time it's not fiction. It's messy, it's dramatic, and it's blowing up timelines everywhere. Savannah Guthrie's sister was arrested for kidnapping their own mother. Yes, that headline hit like a lightning bolt. Phones started buzzing, group chats froze, and suddenly, America's perfect family image cracked wide open. How does a quiet family dinner turn into flashing patrol cars? How does a routine drop-off become handcuffs? And why, out of all the people in the world, did investigators circle back to the daughter?
All right, so I'm leaving Annie Guthrie's house now. If you look at my previous videos, there were 3 sheriff's deputies there.
41 minutes. That's the number everyone keeps whispering about. 41 unexplained minutes inside an 84-year-old woman's home before she vanished. Coincidence, or the detail that changes everything? Because here's where it gets uncomfortable. Authorities say this was targeted, planned, and precise. And now one name is sitting at the center of the storm: Annie Guthrie. So, buckle up, because tonight we're breaking down the arrest, the timeline, the whispers, and the bombshell discovery that turned a family tragedy into a full-blown national scandal. And trust me, this story only gets darker from here.
And in with like evidence equipment, and they were taking photos inside the house, and we know for sure that they were taking photos because we could see flashes through.
The first question everyone asked wasn't who did it. It was, how did it get this far? Because just days ago, the Guthrie family stood shoulder to shoulder in front of cameras pleading for help. Savannah Guthrie, polished, composed, media trained, asking the public for prayers. Cameron was standing silently beside her. Annie is calm, too. Calm, some say. And now Annie Guthrie is in custody. Authorities haven't released every detail, but they didn't have to. The optics alone are nuclear. Sheriff Chris Nanos confirmed late last night that Annie was taken in for questioning after what he described as newly developed inconsistencies.
It's just strange. Annie Guthrie, we don't think is staying there anymore.
Inconsistencies. That word again. The same word investigators used before major arrests in other high-profile cases. So, what changed? Let's rewind. On the night Nancy Guthrie disappeared, she had dinner at Annie's home. Harmless, ordinary family night. According to the initial timeline, Nancy arrived around sunset. They played board games, they laughed.
When I got here, there were 3 deputies that had just arrived. They have private security here. NBC hired private.
Tamaso Keone, Annie's husband, drove Nancy home later that evening. The garage door opened at 9:48 p.m. It closed at 9:50 p.m. Digital logs don't lie. Or do they? Because here's where the temperature rises. At 1:47 a.m., Nank's front door camera was disconnected, not glitched, not powered off, and physically tampered with. At 2:28 a.m., her pacemaker monitoring app disconnected from her phone. 41 minutes inside that house. Now, law enforcement sources speaking anonymously say investigators discovered something during the second search of Annie's property. Something they aren't publicly naming yet, but according to one insider, it changed the direction of the investigation completely. Changed completely. Let that sink in. This wasn't a random door-to-door sweep.
I could see them taking pictures. Yeah, there you go, right? That's some of the stuff they brought out. I could see them taking pictures.
Deputies returned with camera equipment and evidence bags. They photographed the garage, the floors, storage bins, and even the ceiling beams. Neighbors reported bright flashes moving from room to room like a crime scene reconstruction. And here's the twist that has social media spiraling. Annie reportedly wasn't home during that second search.
Line that they gave us yesterday. 9:48 p.m., Nancy's garage door opened. We believe that's the family. We believe it was Tomas.
She had temporarily relocated, according to a family representative. Temporarily relocated in the middle of a kidnapping investigation involving your own mother. Critics online didn't hesitate. Why leave? One viral post asked, if you have nothing to hide, why disappear? Supporters clapped back just as fast. Because harassment is real. Because the media circus is insane. Because grief looks different on everyone. But investigators weren't debating online. They were building something. Financial records, phone pings, vehicle tracking data. And then came what one anonymous source called the discrepancy.
Because the sheriff keeps changing his story on that. He told the New York Times it was Tomas. Then he changed it at the presser to, we're going to go with...
Authorities reportedly compared Tamaso Keone's stated drop-off time with independent traffic camera footage. The timestamps didn't perfectly align. Not wildly off. Just enough. Enough to raise eyebrows. Enough to justify a deeper look. And once investigators start looking deeper, they don't stop. Another source claims forensic technicians examined the seized vehicle for trace evidence, fibers, soil samples, and digital GPS logs.
If you go from 1:47 a.m., which is when the doorbell cam got disconnected to 2:28 a.m., which is when her...
Why that level of detail? If this was just routine, because maybe it wasn't routine anymore. Meanwhile, FBI Director Kash Patel addressed reporters, calling the situation active and evolving. He refused to answer whether the arrest was directly tied to the 41-minute window, but he didn't deny it either. Silence speaks volumes. Online commentators have already split into two camps. Those convinced Annie is being framed by circumstantial timing, and those who believe the calm exterior masks something much darker. And here's the uncomfortable truth. When the last person to see someone alive becomes the center of the investigation, the narrative shifts fast. Dinner. That is 41 minutes.
41 minutes.
Drop off. 41 minutes. Now an arrest, a coincidence, or the first crack in a story that was never as simple as it seemed. Because if this was planned, if this was internal, if this wasn't a random masked intruder at all, then everything we thought we knew about that night is about to collapse. And investigators, they're just getting started.
We're putting so much attention. Everybody is looking at ransom, that it's easy to overlook the other.
And just when you thought the arrest was the climax, that's when the leaks started. Not official press releases, not polished statements, leaks. A source claiming to be close to the investigative team told TMZ that detectives uncovered what they described as a financial motive that cannot be ignored. Those words hit the internet like gasoline on a spark. Financial motive. Suddenly, people weren't just looking at timelines. They were looking at money. Nancy Guthrie wasn't just an elderly mother. She reportedly controlled significant assets, property holdings, investment accounts, and a trust that, according to online speculation, had recently been updated. Updated? How? That's where it gets meh. Anonymous insiders alleged that changes to the trust were made just weeks before her disappearance. Who benefits? That's the question commentators won't stop asking. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. An alleged internal memo circulating widely, but never officially confirmed, suggests investigators examined recent large transfers between accounts linked to Annie and a business entity connected to Tommaso Keone.
A clearly successful abduction. If it is a kidnapping, it's poorly...
Coincidence? Business as usual, or something far more calculated. Toezo's past business dealings are now under a microscope. Lavish spending, luxury vehicles, high-end renovations, social media photos showing designer handbags, overseas vacations, and champagne dinners. None of that is illegal. But in the middle of a kidnapping scandal, optics become everything. One anonymous neighbor reportedly told local reporters, they always seemed ambitious, very image-focused. Image-focused. Meanwhile, public reaction has turned savage. #STrend hourly comment sections are war zones. Some call Annie a master manipulator. Others accuse law enforcement of targeting a grieving daughter for clicks and headlines. Even more shocking, a supposed former family acquaintance came forward claiming there were private arguments over caregiving responsibilities and financial control.
I hate to say it, it could be one of those, but certainly his abduction kit he has in the back. Handcuffs, electrical ties.
Again, unverified, but in the court of public opinion, whispers travel faster than facts. Then came the alleged discovery inside the seized vehicle. According to one viral blog, take it with a grain of salt. Forensic teams found trace soil inconsistent with either Nance's home or Annie's property. Desert soil, different mineral composition. Investigators have not confirmed this, but they also haven't denied it. And if that soil matters, then the story expands beyond one house. It becomes movement, planning, and intent. FBI Director Kash Patel declined to comment directly, but stated cryptically, digital evidence rarely stands alone. Digital evidence, phone data, smart home logs, location tracking, deleted messages, encrypted chats, because in 2026, nobody moves without leaving a digital footprint. Online analysts have even dissected Annie's early public appearances. She seemed rehearsed. One viral commentator insisted. Too composed. But here's the twist. Composure isn't guilt, and hysteria isn't innocence. Yet the timing, the finances, the 41 minutes, the soil rumors, it's a perfect storm. And the question hanging over everything is simple. Was this desperation or design? Because if investigators truly uncovered a motive, if this arrest isn't just about proximity, but about profit, then the Guthrie scandal is no longer just about a missing mother. It's about power, and when threatened, it can make people do unthinkable things.
Something happened here just a few minutes ago. We received an email at TMZ from somebody.
And now the fallout, because arrests don't just shake families, they detonate reputations. Within hours of Annie being taken into custody, legal analysts were already debating what charges could stick. Kidnapping, conspiracy, obstruction. Prosecutors haven't shown their full hand yet, but sources say a grand jury may already be reviewing sealed evidence. Sealed. That word alone sends chills. Sheriff Chris Nanos held a brief press conference this morning. Tight-lipped, controlled, measured. He confirmed the arrest was based on cumulative findings and emphasized that the investigation is far from over. Far from over. Translation: more could be coming. Tamiso Keone has not been charged, but he hasn't exactly disappeared either. Paparazzi captured him leaving a law office late last night. Jaw tight, no comment. His attorney released a single sentence: "We are confident the truth will prevail."
Everybody, I wanted to come on and just share a few thoughts as we enter into another week of this nightmare.
Confident. That's lawyer language for this is about to get messy. Meanwhile, financial institutions linked to the Guthrie family have reportedly initiated internal reviews. Not because of proven wrongdoing, but because high-profile investigations tend to trigger compliance alarms. When banks start reviewing accounts, people start sweating. And then there's the political ripple. Caroline Leavitt was asked whether Donald Trump had been briefed on the case. Her answer: the administration is aware of the situation. Aware, not involved, not commenting, just aware. But insiders say FBI Director Kash Patel's team is digging into digital forensics that could either dismantle the prosecution's theory or lock it in permanently. Phone geolocation data, encrypted messaging apps, vehicle telemetry logs. In today's world, you don't need a witness if the data tells the story. And if that data shows premeditation, game over. Public backlash is reaching a fever pitch. Outside the Guthrie residence, protesters have gathered. Some are demanding justice for Nancy, and others are holding signs that read innocent until proven guilty. The divide is brutal. One viral commentator summed it up perfectly. This isn't just a crime story. It's a family implosion playing out in real time. Because if Annie is convicted, the fallout won't stop at prison bars. Trusts get frozen. Assets get contested. Family members turn on each other. Civil lawsuits follow criminal trials like shadows. And here's the part no one wants to say out loud. If this wasn't random, if this was internal, then the masked intruder narrative becomes something else entirely. A cover, a distraction, a stage prop, and a much bigger performance. But that's speculation. And speculation is dangerous. Still, the 41 minutes remain unanswered. 41 minutes inside a quiet house. 41 minutes that may determine whether this case becomes a tragic misunderstanding or one of the most shocking family betrayals in recent memory. The investigation is tightening. The silence is shrinking. And someone somewhere knows exactly what happened that night. The question is, when the full truth comes out, who'll be left standing? So here we are, an arrest, a fractured timeline, financial whispers, digital footprints, and 41 minutes that refuse to explain themselves. Was this a desperate act hidden behind a perfect family image? Or are we watching a narrative spiral out of control before all the facts are in? Because, let's be real, in today's world, perception spreads faster than proof. One headline can destroy a legacy. One leak can ignite a wildfire. And one arrest can split public opinion straight down the middle. Do you believe Annie Guthrie is at the center of something calculated and cold? Or do you think she's the easiest target in a case that still has too many missing pieces? Drop your thoughts below. I'm reading everything. And don't just comment guilty or innocent. Tell me why. What detail stands out to you the most? The money, the timeline, the digital evidence, or the fact that we still don't have clear answers about what really happened inside that house? Because this case is evolving by the hour, and you already know we'll be breaking every twist, every leak, every courtroom move the second it drops. If you made it this far, hit that like button so more people see this breakdown. Subscribe if you want the unfiltered updates. They won't spoon feed you on prime time. And turn on notifications because the next development could flip this entire story upside down. Stay sharp, stay questioning, and remember, the truth doesn't disappear.